All right, welcome to this very basic look into Mainstage 3. We're going to cover some of the very basic features. If you're not sure where to get started when you open up this program, hopefully this will give you a decent starting point, some way to familiarize yourself with the program and what you can do on a basic level. Mainstage is primarily useful in a live setup where you can create splits, layers, and more advanced MIDI mappings. We're going to cover at least inserting channel strips under a patch and doing simple things like creating a split, transposing, creating one MIDI mapping assignment, and a little layering. First off, Mainstage is similar to Logic in a few ways, but it is different in the nomenclature that's used. In Logic, we have tracks, we have track stacks, and in Mainstage, you basically have layers. The biggest is the concert. Then you have patches under that. So concert it consists of everything. Patches are very similar to track stacks in Logic, where they can have multiple instruments loaded or multiple channel strips. In Mainstage, the smallest level is the channel strip. That can be an instrument, that can be an audio track, that can be a send. And the way I work, I can load one patch and I can have as many channel strips in that patch as I want, and I can layer them, split them, and do all kinds of things with them. If you're on a gig, it's good to have basically one patch per song. And it's very easy to go through patches. It is command up and command down. Very easy, very simple. There are three main windows in Mainstage, and while I say that, I'm going to go ahead and load it up. So let's pull it up.
Spotlight. M-A-I-N-S-T-A-G-E. Stage. Logic Pro X.
Mainstage.
Untitled. Tracks. Inspector. Logic Pro X. Change number of MIDI inputs. Mainstage.
Be quiet, Logic. So what I'm going to do is set up keyboard minimalist.
Table. Keyboards. Selected.
Just like in Logic, you have templates, and you can create your own.
A grid of select. Table.
I have a template that's useful for me if I want to sample from an external keyboard using the auto
A
sampler.
grid of selectable templates. One item selected. Interact with a grid. Alchemy. Keyboard minimalist.
We'll use keyboard minimalist,
Mainstage 3 busy.
and this
Press
will just
keyboard minimalist.
load
Mainstage 3.
one channel
Untitled
strip,
concert.
the electric Rhodes or electric piano. And
Mainstage
like
3.
I said, there's three main windows,
Toolbar.
and we'll see you can see them in the
Interact
toolbar,
Mode.
and it's under mode.
Interact with layout.
So you have layout, which is what sighted people will use to create their own custom assignments, and they can customize the screen however they want it to appear when they're on the gig, and you can map those on-screen controls to hardware controls on your keyboard. They're like the go-between between your keyboard and whatever plugin you want to affect, whatever parameter you want to affect in whatever plugin you have loaded.
Layout.
So it's not particularly useful for us.
Edit.
Edit is where I live. That's where I get most of my work done, at least as of yet.
Switch to edit mode.
Hopefully we will discover more that's accessible within the layout mode.
Perform.
And perform is what you will use when you're actually performing. So we'll just stay in edit. That's what I'm most familiar with, and let's explore the screen.
Press edit. Stop interacting. Toolbar.
We're up at the toolbar. The first few elements that you'll see, I just go ahead and skip over them. They're not terribly useful to me right now. So
Patch list. Tab view.
this tab view.
Interact with workspace. Assignments and mappings.
So if we do discover accessible things to do with assignments, we'll do it here.
Workspace.
With the
Assignments and mappings.
workspace assignments.
Press assignment.
These are
Workspace.
both tabs,
Press workspace.
and they basically change what's viewed
Assignments and map. Perform. Play your
here in this perform play here. So if I do
Assignments and
assignments and
mappings. Press
mappings
assignments.
and I
Tab view.
interact,
Assignments and interact with assignments and mappings outline view. Assignment.
There's a bunch of stuff that doesn't make any sense to me.
Less than WS assignment description. 0x618000C4D170 greater than. Text expanded.
Okay. So
Stop interact. Assignment.
we'll skip
Stop
over all
interact.
that.
Assign and map.
Assign and map, this button never works. I think that will work if we
Assign
find
and map
out.
button. To learn a new assignment or mapping for the currently selected screen control or assignment.
Yeah, so nothing is selected.
Menu button. Channel strips.
Channel strips. This is where I actually can do things.
Add channel strips. Text. Add a channel strip.
Add a channel strip. Now,
Press.
you
Add
can
channel strip.
choose what type of channel strip you'd like to add here.
Type. Audio type.
Audio type.
Instrument type. External instrument type.
Instrument is a software instrument.
Auxiliary type. MIDI input. Keyboard 1. MIDI input. MIDI output. Port 1 KO MP LET EKO MTRO LS49. MIDI output.
So very useful. If you have multiple keyboards set up, you can actually designate what keyboard you want to receive that MIDI data.
MIDI channel. Channel 1. MIDI
You have
channel.
the channel and
Format.
everything.
Stereo. Format. Input. No input. Input. Output. Output 1 2. Output. Progress
So
indicator.
good deal.
Add a channel.
You can use that. What I use primarily because I work with software instruments, I use Command Option I. That's a good keyboard shortcut. And if you want to know the keyboard shortcuts, just like in Logic, Option K will bring that up and you can explore what's possible.
Channel strip actions. Stop interacting with
Channel strip actions, I
Channel strip actions.
haven't
Menu.
really messed with.
Add channel strip. Ellipsis. Control N. Add audio.
Oh yeah, that's where
Channel strip. Add a channel strip.
I lie.
Channel
You
strip
can, you
actions.
can do the
Menu.
same kind of things here.
Add channel. Add external instrument channels. Add aux channel strip. Reset channel strip. Save channel strip setting. Ellipsis. Show original. Command R. Show next alias. Command Shift. Convert alias to original. Next setting. Command Shift. Right arrow.
So very cool.
Channel strip. Stop interacting with patch list. Row 2 of 2. Classic electric piano.
So like I said, patches are what contain channel strips. So I'm going to
Interact
rename
with
this
patch list.
patch actually.
Untitled Classic electric piano.
I don't want it to be called Classic Electric Piano.
Classic electric piano. Content
I
selected.
VO spaced on that, so it's not like Logic where you press Shift Enter. VO space will pull up the edit dialog,
Selection deleted.
and I'm going to call this bass
A. Bass.
keyboard
Bass keyboard.
split
Split.
with pad
Pad.
layer.
E.
Whatever.
Untitled bass keyboard split with pad layer.
Okay, bass keyboard split
Stop
with pad
interacting
layer.
with pad.
That's what will be contained.
Patch settings.
Let's get to work.
Scroll area. Vertical splitter. Mixer 1 item selected.
Mixer. This is what's most familiar if you're using Logic. You have, if you've ever explored the mixer or the inspector within Logic, this is very similar. So you interact with the mixer.
Interact with mixer 1.
The thing that's at the top of this will be the electric keyboard or electric
Classic
piano,
electric piano.
classic electric. If I interact with this, it shows the same sort of things that you see in
Interact
Logic.
with.
So
Setting.
this top
Setting.
thing is the channel, like the channel strip preset, and I've saved a bunch of these. And a good thing to note is that if you saved channel strips in Logic, they're accessible to you in Mainstage, and this is vice versa. Let's go ahead and we have, yeah, this is, let's see. So I'm just turning up the volume on this a little bit. Oh well, we'll have to deal with it. It's quiet. We can turn it up now.
0. Setting. Classic. Solo. Unchecked. Mute. Unchecked. Plus 0.0.
We'll give it a boost.
Stop interacting with mixer 1 item selected. Classic electric piano. Mixer 1 item select. Interact. Classic electric. Setting. Menu.
Let's load. So now, if you saved things in Logic as a channel strip, you
Press
can
setting.
get to them by going to the user tab.
User
So
channel
I
strip
type
setting.
user
Delete. User channel strip settings.
channel strip settings.
User
And
channel
these are
strips.
all the things that I've created.
Drums. E piano. Mellow drum and organ. Piano. Rhodes keys tape 3. Organ. E piano.
Let's do
E
the
piano.
piano.
Clavinet by Scardy. Clavinet keys tape. CP70 keys tape. Rhodes 2 keys tape. Rhodes Arturia. Rhodes keys tape. Rhodes Neo Soul keys. Wurlitzer by Scar. Wurlitzer keys tape. Wurlitzer.
These have too much panning
User
on
channel
them.
strips.
Let me
Mellow
go
drum and champ. E
to,
piano. Drums. Bass. Rhodes keys tape 3.
we'll do this. Rhodes keys tape 3.
Rhodes keys tape 3.
Very okay. And while we're here, I might as well
Stop interacting.
insert the other instruments that I'd like to use before we go further in the interface.
Rhodes keys tape 3. Metronome. Rhodes
So
keys.
like I said, Command Option I. I want to do that twice because I also want to insert a pad. So I want a base
Roads keys take 3. Inst 2.
on inst
Interact
2.
with Inst 2. Setting.
Let's go to user again.
User channel strip settings. User channel strip settings.
Bass
Bass. Bass.
presets.
Acoustic. Pre-bass. Press. Setting. Pre-bass amped. Pre-bass with GR5. M and bass. M and bass amped. Pre-bass with GR5
Let's
amped.
be silly. I have this guitar rig bass amped. It's going to be
Mainstage busy.
pretty noisy, I think. That is if it loads.
Enter in Mainstage 3 untitled concert standard window.
Okay. And
Stop interact. Inst 3.
in inst 3,
Interact with inst
we
3 setting.
will
Menu.
insert a pad, which I don't have any pads saved. Okay, we'll do Mellotron
Press
since I
setting.
worked so hard in creating those
User channel strip
presets.
setting. User channel strip setting. Mellotron and chamber. Mellotron and guitar. Keyboard. Loops. Master tapes. Miscellaneous. Organ. Strings. Tune percussion.
We'll do
Voice. Woodwind.
woodwind.
2 saxes.
I love the recorder.
Recorder.
So we got 3 patches, 3 channel strips. All right, now we don't want them all playing up at the same time. That's no fun. So let's go down
Tab view. Tab.
to this tab view. Oh, before we do this,
Interact with mix. Roads keys. Pre-bass with GR5. Recorder.
luckily these things got renamed when I loaded the channel strips, but if you want to edit the name,
Interact with
just like above,
recorder. Name.
if I want to change it, not shift enter, but VO space.
Recorder. Content selected. Select.
But I'll recall it recorder anyways.
Word. Recorder. Name. Stop.
All right,
Tab view.
this is where we get to do our fun stuff.
Interact with
Th-
tab.
this bottom tab view.
Channel strip library. Attributes.
Now,
Mixer.
let's go to the keyboard and set
Interact
a
with
low key for
Roads
that.
keys take 3. Stop interacting with mixer 1. Tab view.
Oh, you know what Kevin said? I'm not sure if that works or not. Command left and right arrow may work. Let's test it out.
Interact with
This is a
channel
very
strip.
impromptu
Attributes.
tutorial. So many apologies.
Channel strip library. Attributes. Layer editor. MIDI input. Channel strip attributes. Layer editor.
Attributes is no good to us because that deals with the icons and colors associated to channel strips.
Channel strip library.
So screw that.
Layer editor.
Layer editor.
Press layer editor. MIDI input. Layer display view.
This is where we get to designate our high and low key.
High key.
High key is right there. You can either get to it by this
G8.
next.
High key.
What I tend to do is I use the arrow keys with quick nav off. So I'm pressing
Set press key
down.
for this channel.
I can press the down key.
F sharp 8. F8. E8. D sharp 8. D8. D sharp 8. E8. F8. F sharp 8.
Or you can interact
Interact with ladder.
and use VO shift and the arrow keys. So left,
F8. E8. D sharp 8. E8. F8.
then right.
F sharp 8. G8.
So however it works for you. Or you can just go right,
Learn high key.
VO right, and you got learn high key. That's the most useful. So we're dealing with the keyboard. I want to set shut up. I want to set a low key.
G8. High key.
So we're here at high key. I'm just going to VO down from there.
Low key.
There's low key.
C2. Learn low key.
And I'm going to learn. And I'm going to press whatever.
Click. Then press a key to press learn low key.
C3 maybe. Anyways. So that worked.
Floating. Learn C3.
That
Low
was
key.
C3. Right next to these,
Low key. High key.
high key and low key,
high key.
if I kept on VO right,
G8. High. Learn high. Floating range up.
you come across floating range. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to make the high key and low key points flexible. So if you're walking a bass line or you're playing a line on the keyboard that goes past that point, you can set this
0. Floating range up.
to different semitones.
1. 2.
I use the
1,
arrow
0.
keys again.
1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 2, 1.
And I'll demonstrate
0.
this when I edit the bass.
Velocity min.
Velocity min and max,
Velocity max.
is right below it.
Velocity min.
And you can actually let me do this.
1. Velocity min.
I'm going to set
Velocity
this to the lower velocities. No, I'm going to set this to the higher velocities. So I'm going to create
Velocity max. Velocity 1. Velocity min.
a velocity minimum
2,
of
3, 7, 12, 17, 24, 31, 37, 44, 51, 56, 57, 59,
We'll go to
60,
80.
65, 72, 70, 77, 79, 80.
there we go. So if I'm hit this, yep.
127. Velocity max. Stop.
And what I'm going to do is let's go to the recorder.
Tab view. Interact.
I command right arrowed, so let's see if that works.
127. 80. Velocity minute. 100.
Nope, it did not
Stop.
work. So let's go back
Mixer 1. Interact with mixer 1. Prepaste with
to
GR5M.
the mixer.
Recorder.
I'm going to select recorder,
Tab view. Interact
and I
with
want
tab. 127. Velocity max.
to respond
Velocity 1. 127. Velocity
up
max.
to 80. So velocity maximum, I want that to be 79.
126. 120. 111. 103. 95. 88. 83. 82. 81. 8. 79.
Okay, so if I play it quietly, sorry, the bass is still there, and then loud, that's sort of useful. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that though. I don't like that. I'd rather do this
Velocity 79.
a different way. So let me interact.
Interact. 89. Stop in 1. 127.
And let's fix the
Mixer 1 unselected.
keyboard. Let's go back to the
Road
keyboard.
keys take 3. Stop interacting. Tab view.
Back to the tab
Interact with
view.
tab.
Go to the bottom. I just go to the
127.
bottom.
80. Velocity min.
Let's set
Interact with
this
slider.
to 1 again.
7. 10. Stop.
There's a better way, a more seamless way to do
Mixer
that.
one.
So let's
Interact.
set the
Road keys take 3.
high key for the bass.
Prepaste with GR5M. Stop interacting with tab view.
Back to the tab.
Interact with tab. Channel strip. Layer editor.
Layer editor
MIDI
is
input.
already
Layer editor.
selected.
Press
Just
layer
make
editor.
sure.
Channel strip. MIDI input. Layer display view. High key. G8.
High key.
Learn high
Let's
key.
go ahead and learn it.
Press learn high key.
And while we're doing these low key, high
Stop.
key, let's go to the recorder
Interact
and make
with-
sure the recorder is
Road
only
keys
set to
Prepaste with
the
GR5M. Recorder. Stop interact. Tab view.
upper part of the
Interact with tab
keyboard.
view. 19 items. Channel strip library. Attributes. Layer editor. MIDI input. Layer dis. High key. Low key.
Low
C2.
key.
Low key. Learn low key.
Let's learn this.
Press learn low key. Click and press a key to set it as the lowest key for this channel strip.
It didn't fix the MIDI
Mixer 1 item selected.
input
Interact
for
with
the
road keys take 3.
keyboard.
Tab view. Interact. 127. 80. Velocity min.
Oh, velocity minimum.
80. Interact with 70. 6. Stop. 1. Velocity min. 101. Velocity min.
There we go. That's better. Oh, that's very strange.
1. Velocity min. Low key. 101. Velocity min. Stop.
It still remembers.
Tab view. Instruments.
Which
Tab view.
is a
Interact
little
with
strange to me.
101. Velocity min. Velocity min. Stop. Road keys take 3. Prepaste. Recorder. Interact with
Recorder. Let's
Interact
make
with
sure.
Stop. Tab view. Tab view. Interact. 79. 1. 79. 80. 120. Stop. 127. Increment. 127.
Well, that looks like a bug,
Tab
doesn't
view.
it?
Interact with 120. Velocity max. Velocity min. 1. 127. Velocity max. 127. 1. 2. Velocity min. 2. 1. 127. Stop. Interact with prepaste with road keys take 3. Stop interacting. Tab view. Interact. 180. Velocity min. Velocity 0. Floating range up.
It will not let me
Velocity 80. Velocity min. 79. 76. 69.
Change
62.
it.
56. 49. 42. 36. 29. 22. 21. 8. 17. 4, 13. 12. 11. 5. 1. Stop.
This is what I get for exploring. That worked. So for whatever reason, using the arrow key actually was more reliable
Mixer 1 item selected.
than
Prepaste with recorder.
interacting and using
Tab
the
view.
voiceover
Interact with
keys.
127. 1. Velocity 120.
But this still remembered. Okay. Sorry for that detour.
Stop.
These are set. Okay, let me demonstrate the floating point. So let's go to the bass.
Interact with mixer. Road keys take prepaste with GR5. Stop interacting with mixer 1 item selected. Tab view.
Go back to
Interact
this
with
layer editor.
channels, attributes. Layer editor. MIDI input. Layer display view. High key.
Now high
B2,
key
high
is
key.
set to
Learn
B2.
high key. Floating range up. 0. Floating
Let's
range
say
up.
if I want it to accommodate if I'm doing a walking bass line. Right, and obviously I'm going to hit that C, but that's where the keyboard split is, so let me set it to 1.
1.
Now if I'm walking a bass line, then above that, the hard split. And what's interesting is now if I go back down from C sharp, it snapped back. That cutoff point, that split point snapped back. So say I want to be even more flexible.
2. 3.
So I set it to 3. And it snapped back again, so. So it can be useful. Mileage may vary, I think.
2, 1, 0.
Set that to 0.
Stopping. Tab view.
Now, one last thing. Let's
Interact with-
look at the... I'm going to go back to
Mixer
the
one.
key... No,
Interact
we'll do
Mixer
this
one.
with the
Rose
recorder.
TK3. Recorder.
What I want to do is I want the recorder to be controlled by the mod wheel. I don't have a volume pedal with me, so I want the volume of the recorder to be controlled by the mod wheel.
Tab view. Interact
What
with
we do,
channel
we
strip.
go to the
Layer
MIDI.
input. Layer MIDI input.
MIDI input. This is in that bottom
Layer
tab.
app-
So
Attributes.
attributes,
Layer editor.
layer editor,
MIDI input.
and MIDI input.
Press MIDI input. Input. Controllers. Keyboard. Keyboard 1. Keyboard.
Now keyboard 1 is all
keyboard.
that shows up. I hope we can fix this so that we can see the keyboards that are plugged in. But right now it receives MIDI from everything.
Input. Expression 11. Input. Input.
So this is where we see input, and below it
Output.
is output.
Input.
So now, like I said, I want the mod wheel to control the volume. So we have
Expression
just a few things to choose from.
Menu checkmark. Breath. Checkmark.
We have the expression, which would be the volume pedal or the expression pedal.
Modulation 1.
Modulation, which is the mod wheel.
Volume 7.
Volume, which is obviously, 7.
Breath 2.
And breath, if you have a breath controller.
Modulation
I'm
1.
going to use the mod wheel.
Modulation 1.
And right
check.
below it,
Transform.
I'm going to set that to...
Press transform.
Oh, you know what? Sorry.
Untitled console. Pitch bend filter. Modulation. Input.
That's funny. Okay,
Output.
so
Input.
input and output are right above each other, but
Expression 11. Output.
the output I want to
Checkmark.
set to volume.
Modulation. Volume 7. Volume 7. Output. Input. Modulation 1. Filter. Pitch bend filter.
Filter is
Unchecked.
useful because it allows you to tell a channel strip that you do not want it to
Filter out incoming
respond
message.
to certain MIDI messages.
Transform. Sustain pedal.
So
64
if
filter.
you want to turn off the sustain pedal for that patch,
Modulation
or
1.
the
Filter.
modulation for that patch,
Output. Modulation
you
1.
just
Filter.
check
Unchecked.
these.
Output. Volume set. Velocity scale. After touch filter. Velocity scaling.
I haven't messed with velocity scaling. I imagine that's if the velocity on your keyboard is crap, you can fix how it responds.
After touch filter. Velocity input. Transpose. 0. Transpose.
Transpose, very self-explanatory, but very useful when you're doing keyboard splits. Maybe I want the recorder sound to be lower.
-1. -2. -4. -6. -8. -10. -12.
And I'm doing that with the arrow keys again, with quick nav off. Let's test the mod wheel, or in my case, the complete control mod strip. So that all works. One thing that's very interesting
Stop.
is that you can also invert that.
Tab view.
I'm going to show you how to invert it
Mixer.
with the
Interact with. Rose keys take 3.
electric piano. We're going to
Tab
go
view.
back
Interact with.
to
Channel. Input.
input
Controllers. Keyboard. Keyboard 1. Input.
right here.
Expression 11. Input. Press.
Set that with the
Modulation 1.
modulation
Modulation. Modulate. Output. Expression 11. Output.
and
Expression
output.
11.
I want
Press.
volume on this
Modulation.
as well.
Volume 7. Volume 7.
So if I use the mod wheel, both will go up and down. Well, what if I want the keyboard to be heard when the recorder is turned down?
Expression 11. Velocity scaling. After touch filter.
That's
Uncheck. Velocity in-
what...
Volume. Output. Modulation 1. Sustain pedal. Pitch bend filter. Transform.
So it's...
Pitch bend filter.
It,
Uncheck.
this layout is a little funky, but
Filter. Pitch. Transform.
that's what you want to find, transform.
Pitch bend filter.
So it's sort of
Pitch bend filter.
filter,
Uncheck.
pitch bend,
Transform.
then transform. This pulls up a
Press
dialog,
Transform. Radio button. Radio
which
button.
for me,
Bar 6.
it has these radio buttons that are
Radio button,
not
radio button,
labeled.
Radio button. Radio button. Radio button.
Don't know what
6
they
of 6.
are.
Range min. 0. Range max. 120. Invert.
That's what I like. Invert.
Press invert.
Click that.
Reset. Copy. Paste.
Now, at the lowest point, just the roads. If I move it up. Let's go ahead and transpose the keyboard down.
Copy.
Oh, let's close this.
Untitled concert. Interact with. Roads keys. Pre-bass with GR5 amp. Roads. Stop interact. Tab view. Interact with. No. Ignore her mode 2. 0. Transpose. 0. -1. -5. -9. -12.
All right. That would have been nice to have a floating point. And bring in the recorder. Okay. Simple things. But it is a very strange interface, so hopefully some of that was helpful to you.
Logic Pro X.
Good luck in exploring this, and let me know if you find something out.